honored. Hello.
What up, Frankmeisters? What is going on? Tired as hell on my end, but I don't know about everybody else. What's going on, Ruckus? Miss
Not much,
Deb?
man. Low
Boy,
profile, under the radar, all that, keeping quiet.
been up
A
since
little bit
11.
tired.
Been up since 11 yesterday morning. Ain't been to bed yet.
Damn.
Oh man,
I did it though.
you did it. Yes,
I
you
did
did.
it. Got there at 5:30 this morning, and it was like the fourth or fifth person in line. So it was a good day though. There was a lot of things that I learned from listening to a couple people that testified today, and I'm sure that Ruckus will relate to this once we get to that part of it. But just from a broad perspective on my end right now, I'm just telling you right now, Richard Allen's goose is cooked. His goose
I
is
hope
cooked.
so.
But I don't know if you guys have kept up through the daytime or what you did, but I don't know what you've heard. But, you know, unfortunately, what they did is they are going to reset the suppression hearing, and went ahead and did the Cry Neil Wolf story about not being treated fairly in the prison and trying to get him back in the county in a bond type situation, you know. So we all went through that, and of course, at first they had Toblesn be up on the stand, and I thought the dude was going to choke like you wouldn't believe. But
Did he look
held it
nervous?
No, not really. I mean, there were times where he paused for a second and kind of looked up in the air like, how do I answer this question? You know what I mean? Because Rosie was trying to be real slick to try to get him to slip up, you know, but Toblesn did pretty well. You know, I mean, he had a valid point why he didn't want, it's not that he didn't want him at the Carroll County Jail. It's just the fact that it's only a 34-bed facility. They have no mental doctors that come in there at all, you know, and especially his safety. And because you got to think Carroll County has only got 5 guards that work the jail. There's Julie Melvin.
Hey, Julie.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Julie.
Good. How are you?
Hi.
Everybody, welcome Julie Melvin to the show. Hi, Julie.
Hi. How you guys?
It's been a long day, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been such a long day. I'm sitting out here on my porch. It's kind of getting windy and a little bit cool, and it's kind of been raining a little bit. So I'm just trying to relax. I'm having a glass of wine, if that's okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
It's fine.
But
I've been up almost 48 hours, and I have to work
I'm
tomorrow.
right there with you. Me too. Just couldn't sleep last night. But me and Julie were cheating off each other's notes today. If she missed something, she'd look at my stuff. And if I missed something, I try to look at her stuff because her handwriting is just so, I don't know how to describe it.
It looks like a doctor's handwriting. You can't see anything. I actually was going through that tonight. All of my notes. So
yes, I had just got started on with Toblesn when they had him on the stand.
Okay.
And it was getting to the points where he was saying that he feared for his life and safety in that jail, plus not having any mental health doctors in there. And he had a valid point, you know.
Yeah.
When you only got 5 jailers that are working the jail to 34 inmates or whatever it is, you know, 34 inmates. That's not enough guards to cover for that many inmates, only 5. And you got 1 transporter. That's all you got.
Yeah.
And so it is a challenge for that county. I can see why, you know.
Well, basically, from what I gather, the defense team what they were doing was they were making a point to bring up the document that Tobe Lesenby had drawn up on his own, and they verified that you did write this document up when you were sheriff, correct? And he verified that, and the wording was such that because of threats to the concerns of safety to Richard Allen, threats to his life, threats to the law enforcement, threats to anybody that's helping take care of him, that they felt that he needed to be put elsewhere. And then Mr. Rosie then proceeded to say, okay, you drew this up, correct? Yes. And he said, I'm going to hand you a copy of the document that you drew up when you were sheriff. He said, is this what you drew up? He said, well, it looks pretty similar. Yeah, it looks pretty much like it. And he said, did you have actual verification or proof that there were any threats against Richard Allen? No. Were there
such as social media, YouTubers,
digital, any of that stuff?
Yeah.
Right. He said no. Were there any threats against you or any of your law enforcement officers? No. So you drew this up, and then it was entered. It was all based upon concerns, but there were no legitimate
verification.
Right.
No verification. Right.
Yeah. And so the reason Mr. Rosie was making a case about this was that, he was denied even being anywhere near Carroll County, and they just kind of sent him off somewhere else. But then he proceeded to ask if Tobe had gone to Westville to visit before he just said, hey, we don't need to keep him here. Did you go visit? And he said, no, I just had faith in that correction system that that it would all be okay.
What he said. Yeah.
So the bottom line was these were all this document was based upon unfounded concerns or like no actual threats, and that there wasn't a hearing to say, is this legitimate or not, and should we look at this and say, we have these concerns, do we have real threats or not? It was basically, these are my concerns, I'm the sheriff, I'm going to write this, and it's going to go on, and it's now passed, and nobody's going to question it.
Yep, exactly what happened.
Now your microphone is picking up the wind, Julie.
Oh my gosh, okay, let me see. Sorry about that. You know what, I got to go. See if I can move out of that. Sorry.
It is getting windy.
It is. Let's see if I can find.
And then here comes along. His name is a 20-year-old college student.
Am I able to mute my microphone?
Yes.
From your end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll mute when I'm not talking.
If you touch the screen, the bottom should say mic, cam, chat. You just touch it, you're muted.
And then the next witness was a 20-year-old college student kid. I believe he was studying to be a lawyer. Got him up on the stand. So
and how was he? Why was he a witness?
He works for the firm.
Is this Max?
Yes, Max Baker.
Mm-hmm.
They were sending him up to the prison. They sent him up there 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
First one was right before Christmas, and he said he didn't really see any difference in him from the first time he went to jail and then when he visited him the first time. He was healthy, the whole works. And then he went and saw him 3 times in May, and that's when the big difference came about.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, he's frail. They're saying that he had bruises on his face. They're accusing him of busting a iPad. So the family owes $250 for that, but they gave him a brand new one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't allowed to talk on the telephone. He wasn't allowed to make calls, but he could do chirps and FaceTime people, or he can use a kiosk if you'd like. You want to add that to Julie?
Is this any better? Because I'm little mic, okay. I was just kind of going through my notes here. So that was on Max Baker.
Yeah.
The wind has blown my notes away. Um,
I had that problem in
some of the
Delphi.
yeah, I heard about that. Well, some of the things. So I think Max was really important because uh, he was really there more to tell about the progression of deterioration of Richard Allen and how he had visited him 4 times. The first time was in December of 2022 during Christmas break, and then the other 3 times were in May of 2023. One of those times he was aware of Richard Allen's visitation with his wife, which they determined was far different from any of the other visitations because it had been planned. They put them in a separate room, and they were allowed to embrace and hug, and so that was far different. However, it was noticeable after Richard Allen received a lot of documents that everything changed. The whole point was that the defense team was allowed to come in. The first time they could bring all the laptops, all that stuff, like you said, and
cell phones, and all of a sudden,
everything.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there was a huge shift, and the shift was, you can't even bring your cell phone, no laptops, no nothing. We're going to sit Richard Allen. We're going to sit him in the middle of a room, of a larger room, on a plastic chair. He's going to have the vest that's like a shock vest. So if you press a little button, it'll shock you. He's got the shackled feet. He's got the chain on his back, like your
a leash on a dog.
And his hands are tied around up here, and essentially they could hardly present anything because they couldn't bring anything in. You keep everything on record on a laptop. That's how they do their investigation. And then the other thing that had changed was that the guards were taking a video camera that would not only just audio record, but would record would record your face and then your voice as well. So they were walking around and they're recording the defense talking to him. They have full access. They were behind at one point. They were talking about them being behind a window, but they asked Max, "Did you have concerns about that?" He said, "Yeah, I had all of my notes." He said, "We were in a very small room," and I think you might have written that down. It was small. I think we had the dimensions.
I think he said Julie, it was like.
Yes.
Did he say that that microphone could pick up what was happening behind the glass?
They didn't know, but they knew that it could pick up audio. And wasn't the warden, it was one of the other guys that he said, yeah, that it could pick that up, and that was very uncommon, that none of the other inmates had that happen. And that's basically where there was a significant change in the way that Richard Allen was treated when a lot of information was coming in.
I have a question right here. Ruckus, you would probably know this. Is that something that they would start to do with an inmate that had started to show signs of suicidal thoughts, etc.?
No, what are you talking about? Is that something that they would do? What part of it?
The talking about having him chained, set him in the middle of the room in a chair.
Okay. Anytime he leaves that unit, and the attorneys aren't allowed in that unit for obvious reason. Anytime he leaves that unit, he's going to be shackled, chained, belly chained, and black box. There's a box that goes between the handcuffs.
Yep.
So that you can't move your hands this way.
Yes.
Now, they can put it on him like this, and it looks like that's what he prefers. But that's for everybody's safety. A lot of shit has happened during attorney.
Hey, Julie, cover your mic.
Okay.
A lot of bad things have happened during attorney client visits. So anytime he leaves the unit, he's going to be shackled and chained. Now, they call that a kidney belt. What you're talking about, where he can be tased, they put that on him, and the actual probe section are on the kidney. And I'm here to tell you, that drops you quick. I've been zapped with that son of a bitch.
Oh, I tell you what, Rosie was throwing a fit about being brought up, because they said they were zapping him.
Too bad.
They were zapping him.
He does not dictate what happens in that facility. The attorneys have not. They always bitch about it. Now, the whole camera thing, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
That's a
And
no-no.
I think we all agree on that. That's an invasion of your attorney-client privilege right there.
Exactly. If he comes out of the unit, yes, I agree. Black box him and all that. And if they're using the kidney belt, we only use those for the serial killers and shit like that. But if they're using the kidney belt, okay, that's fine. But to videotape it, that's a no-no. That you
Yeah.
have to be out of sight and
That
sound.
was the
Okay.
due process. One of the due process parts that they were talking about.
Yeah, and that's
They
what they
violated
filed
his.
the restraining order, I guess, was against
Yeah,
a
yeah,
camera. I've never heard of that before, but
Yeah.
yeah. The judge is the one who advised him to
yeah, I don't
today.
understand why they were doing that, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. Now, maybe, and listen, people make poor decisions. The supervisor may have said, listen, he's on suicide watch. So we have to have eyes on him if you don't want to stand in there watching. I don't know if it was a handheld camera, or if it was set on a tripod, Julie or
No,
Frank,
it
did
was
they
it was a
say?
handheld. It was a handheld video recorder. They said it because they said that from the time that he got there, he was put in a cell. He's been in the same cell, but he was not initially on suicide watch.
Right.
And this was when he would go and meet his attorneys, and they would take him in another room.
Mhm.
They were literally. They said it was a handheld video recorder, and they're literally like walking all around and videoing, and they acknowledged.
In
Gary
the room
Lewis-
with him? They were in the
Yes.
room with.
Well,
Yeah.
I think initially, but then when they started talking to him, they were out. Did you get that? They were outside of the room, Frank?
Yes, through a like a plexiglass window.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of time they will video the actual process of securing him in this apparatus, or if they take it off, so the inmate can't claim injury at some point.
Well,
Or if-
according to Rosie, they were videotaping everything. Him just sitting in the middle of the room, all shackled up and everything.
Right.
And-
Yeah. So I don't see a reason for them to do that. That's a no-no.
Well,
But-
they acknowledged when Gary Lewis, who was from Westville Correctional Facility,
Yeah,
he's
Captain.
been here. Yeah, he was like the third witness. He was very difficult to hear, by the way. Everybody was like,
Right.
they were leaning in, trying to hear him. He was very soft spoken. He acknowledged that this was. I mean, I thought his testimony, even though it was hard to hear him, that was pretty significant because he acknowledged that this is not usual. This is the first inmate being held for trial that this has happened to. This is not usual treatment. I thought he gave the most, I guess, damning testimony against, what was happening to him.
Right. But then
Um,
again, you got to go to the warden. He turned around and slam dunked Rosie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
They can
He-
rectify that, though. I mean, if the judge says, "Well, that's it, no more recordings, and whatever you have to destroy or what have you," that's just stupid of them to do that. Somebody made a poor decision. I wonder who ordered that, because that's not standard operating procedure. I guarantee you.
Frank, what do you think? To me,
In
it
the
sounded
inside.
like it just sounded like they made up their own little rules.
Yeah,
Like I
and that's
said,
what I'm
the
saying.
inside. On the
Yeah.
inside, yeah.
But
Well, and
Because I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen to people.
that was
You know.
about the point that Max said that I showed up. Richard Allen's face was black and blue. It looked like
Mhm.
he had a really bad tan. There was stuff all over his
That
his-
red jacket
Sure.
he was wearing. Yeah.
like he had been basically they let you infer that he was probably beat up, but what they did was just do factual description of what he saw, and he was no longer the person he said. He got to the point where he had deteriorated so bad that it was like he was answering maybe every seventh question. He became very quiet, just kind of internalized, and that's pretty much how we saw him today. He's way
none of
worse
that
than-
would be difficult to debunk or prove, because he's under 24-hour video surveillance in the cell that he's in. There's
Yes.
also video surveillance outside of the cell, in the hallway and all that. Because
Yeah.
whenever there's a use of force, they have to go back and look at it, and they'll record the use of force with a handheld as well.
Okay.
But my question is, how important of a client is this if they're sending a freaking intern up there to talk to him?
Okay, that's what we need to talk about next.
Yeah.
Because with Gary Lewis, Mr. Rosie brought up the companion program. And the companion program is designed to fill in when there is a lack of staffing at the Westville Correctional Facility. And so if you have somebody on suicide watch that needs to have someone there, and initially there was a correction officer assigned to him, but when they experienced a shortage of officers, they then have inmates.
That's
So
crazy.
now
Yep.
this was
They
a
call it a
revelation to me.
they were calling it a companion inmate.
But the companion inmate sits there and says, "Hey, Rick, yeah, hey, what are you doing? Like, you were on the trail. Oh, so you were out there when those girls got killed? And hey, prosecutor, he just told me he was out there and implicated himself." So that's where at the end you've got Nick McClellan saying that they had like 5 to 6 confessions from Richard Allen. You've got these guys that are inmates. And Mr. Rosie said, "Do you trust these inmates?" And he asked John, what's his name?
Galapo or something.
Yeah, the guy that's he's the warden. I'm sorry,
I got his
I
name.
didn't like him. I felt he was very kind of
John
flippant,
Galpo.
dishonest. The way
He was arrogant, but I mean, you could tell how arrogant he was on the stand. But I mean, he was shutting Rosie down left and right.
Well, I don't know
kind
how
of,
the
but
layout is there, okay, but I guarantee you that from what I hear, it's a 50 cell unit, this confinement area. Now,
He
is
was
it,
an A. He was an A pod. It was A pod he was in.
but is it 1 story? Is it 2 story? But I
I don't.
guarantee you that there is direct supervision in there with the correctional officer. He may be at a desk, and there was supposed to be somebody assigned to Richard Allen, companion Q15, whatever you want to call it. Keep an eye. They could see him on camera from the control room, but to have somebody there to make sure, because they could say, "Oh, I thought he was sleeping," when he's dead. So that's why they put a CO there to keep track of him. I still don't like them putting an inmate there. I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me. But I guarantee you that it's recorded audio as well. Whatever that inmate was saying to Richard Allen is recorded because there's an intercom system into the cell to the control room.
And they said that the cell that he was in was 12 by 8.5 feet.
That's standard.
I'm
one of the
not sure about it.
revelations that I found was very interesting was when Mr. Rosie had asked Mr. what's his name, the correctional warden. He said, "So when you get a phone call, so when Mr. Allen would get a phone call, is that recorded?" He said, "Yes." But that's only listened to by one person. Okay. So then Mr. Rosie says, "So it's in the hands of one person." Yes. And then he said, "You might find it interesting to know that we got communication from the prosecution stating that they had some recordings that we would want to hear from Richard Allen to his wife. And the prosecution asked us if we wanted to have them."
Of
Now,
Richard Allen talking to, I'm sorry, the wind picked up on you, talking to his wife.
The Richard Allen talking to his wife. So there's one person listening to it, and they gave it to the prosecution, and the prosecution is now offering it up to the defense, and the defense is like, "What? Wait, you guys are sitting there recording it, and you're giving anything they're talking about to the prosecution, and now the prosecution is determining what we might want to take a listen to." I mean, is that normal?
Well, it depends, because we don't know that for a fact. Now, the prosecution would have to give them that information as part of discovery anyway. But I guarantee you that if the defense said, "Hey, do you have any recordings?" they would give them to them as well. The prosecution probably asked for them, is why they got them. That would be really stupid to lose a case on some dumb bullshit like that. But they have to share it anyway. I
Mhm.
and the defense is doing their job. He's got great attorneys. They're doing some great lawyering. They certainly are.
Yeah.
They're trying to
But
make it everything look like, oh, everybody's against us and poor Richard Allen. He's not getting beat up. It would be on camera if he's getting beat up. I
Yeah.
mean, he can't take a crap without being on
okay,
camera.
let's talk about the photo when he's in the red jumpsuit, or what do you call nurses? Oh, I can't remember the name, but whatever. But the photo when he's in the red jumpsuit, whatever he's in, and he's sitting there looking like this.
Looking
Your
all.
camera's
We
that-
can't
off,
see your
Frank.
face.
I
You've
got it
got your
off for a
icon.
reason.
Okay.
No, it ain't because of that, man. My eyes are hurting and everything.
Oh.
But
Okay.
but what I was getting ready to say is that what it looks like soiled on that shirt, the warden came back at Rosie and said, "Look, when you guys came to visit him, he was in the middle of a wreck. He had the opportunity to go back to his cell and change his clothes, and he refused to. He said he gets 3 sets of clothing a week, a couple sets of boxers and socks, and a pair of Crocs, white Crocs.
Mhm.
And he said he can order also extra boxers and stuff on his commissary.
Mhm.
He said also, we've noticed that he's been refusing to eat. And he's been here recently refusing to go out on rec. So that's telling me right there he's putting on the front.
Now, who's saying that? Who was saying that he's
The
refused? That was the
warden,
staff. Okay.
the warden.
Now he can refuse rec. I mean, I'm here to tell you, the CO has no problem
Yeah.
with that. You want to go to rec? No, beautiful. Refused.
I don't
Saves him some trouble.
I don't necessarily know that he is 100% faking it. If you had been locked in that room all the time, you could start to experience psychosis and obviously tremendous stress and possibly deep depression. And
Well,
when you are
I'd agree.
when you're depressed, you don't want to eat, you don't want to do anything. So that could be what's happening. And if it all happened after he, got a look at the paperwork and
Hmm.
saw what a case they have against him, it makes
And
sense.
another thing that I noticed, and I think Julie and Miss Purdue, who's in the chat, can testify this. When he walked by us, Julie, the first time, he looked right at us. His eyes were super dilated, which was an indication to me they got him doped up.
He
What's
might
your
be
take?
medicated.
Yeah, he may be medicated under medical care, though. I mean, I don't think that was just for his court appearance.
Well, yeah,
Right.
but you
Yeah.
could tell. I mean, I was
I
talking to
think
Deb
that
about this, or Purdue about this earlier, is that his eyes are so dilated, it's almost like you're looking right through his eyes and don't see nothing.
he's got that delusional affective disorder. What Meryl and I, you guys probably know Meryl Ashby. He's an anesthesiologist, and we were
Yes.
looking at him. We're like,
Yeah.
he just looks like he has hyperthyroidism, like a Graves' disease. But you cannot discount the fact that he. I've seen so many people like this before. He's not he's not having these deep personal connections with his eyes when he's looking around. And I noticed that when he first came in, the very first time, the very first hearing, and then I didn't go to like the second one, so this is the one I've been to. The first one, when he came in and he left, he looked at his wife, and by the way, I have to say his wife was turning around, talked to Meryl a little bit. She was acknowledging us behind. I felt such compassion for her. She's hurting terribly, and
I heard that she whispered to one of the news people, "He's my person."
he's her person.
That was WRTV's Caitlin Kendall. Yeah.
Well, she was. She would almost like turn around to us, like, see, right? Kind of like, see what they're doing. Kind of, she would on occasion kind of turn around to us, and then there were times
Try to throw it in our face, basically, is what she was trying to do.
Well, but then I felt very compassionate towards her, because there were times that she was sobbing, and I mean, it kind of brought tears to my eyes, because I know the pain. She didn't ask for this. And we have to be compassionate towards these people and pray for her, pray for him. I mean, he's in a bad spot. And
But what about when Andrew Baldwin came up and told her, if you hear anybody talk about anything, write it down?
now I didn't hear that, but I know you told me that.
Yeah, I was watching him the whole time. I'm like,
I've heard that from several sources too since the
he's sitting there telling
hearing was
Gaff,
over.
he's like, listen very closely what people are talking about so you can jot stuff down. I'm like, yeah.
She did ask Meryl's name, and he gave it to her. What I was going to say is when he did leave the courtroom, I didn't see. He was looking around, and I'm just kind of putting myself into her shoes, watching her husband, because she's so in. I even said, I reached out to her and I said, I'm so sorry that you're going through this, and she said, it's not just me, it's so many other people. And I just nodded to her. But when her husband came out, I seriously have reservations if he's competent to withstand trial based upon based upon what I saw. He's not even. I mean, and then I hear the defense saying that he's to the point where he's just answering every seventh question. He's not connecting with the universe.
That's standard operating procedure for these folks, though, Julie. I mean, this guy was certainly competent enough to be trusted around medication, to be a supervisor at CVS weeks before his arrest. Now suddenly,
that's true.
And he came to court today. He's detaching himself. That happens
that's
a
how
lot
I
as
feel
well.
about. That's how I feel.
And he's not seeing the sun that much. He goes from the van to the courtroom. His eyes are going to be dilated for a second. He doesn't get that light that much. But I've just seen it millions of times, and I'm telling you, they all do the same thing. I've seen it over and over and over again.
Well, maybe that's like the psychoanalysis of maybe that's what happens with people that when you do something and potentially commit a crime, and you get put like, can any of you, I mean, listen, this guy led a relatively normal life from what we can see. Can you imagine if you were, now I don't know your history, sir, but I can't imagine if I was leading a normal life and let's say something happened to me where I had some undiagnosed mental health issues and I committed a crime and that I was taken and put in shackles and then I was all of a sudden thrust into this. I would think that would send you into an area that you never thought you would experience. It's almost hard to comprehend. And maybe it's real. Maybe what you've seen is truly real. What happens to people? It's like it's kind of like a form of torture, but it mentally incapacitates you. But I don't know.
They definitely try and detach from it. It's
what
embarrassing.
Yes.
What I see happening in this case, and the judge has already set a trial date for January 8th of 2024 through the 26th.
Yeah, right.
What I see happening is that the defense is going to start building a case for insanity. Is what's going to happen.
Now, today, they did not sign a waiver for a speedy trial, I heard.
Nope.
They offered that and they didn't. So they're keeping that in their hip pocket, too. They still have that option. They can do that at any time.
Oh, Julie went something. Oh, she went somewhere.
Julie?
No, her mic and everything's still up. The picture's gone.
Yeah, I think she just turned the camera off for a second.
All right.
Yeah, but after listening to a lot of that testimony today, I was like, yeah, I can see where this is going.
But he's not being mistreated. Does anybody want to be locked up in solitary confinement? No. But these are unfortunately the consequences of your actions.
But I think what the point he was trying to get across is the fact that he is being treated as a convicted felon when he hasn't been convicted of anything. That's what his main concern is.
From what I understand, he's being treated better than the other inmates on that unit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying from the defense's point of view, they're going to use that tactic to try to get him moved or whatever. You
Right.
Right.
know, that's exactly what's going on here. And I mean, right there toward the end, Rosie was begging the court,
Mm.
Your Honor, step in, do something about this. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, what? And
That's their
then you
job,
had,
though.
then you had Cass County Sheriff Schroeder up on the stand,
Mm.
and there's room for him there, but they do not have a mental facility inside that jail.
Right.
And then it was getting to the point where Carroll County and Cass County were pointing fingers at each other, like, we don't want him in our facility,
Of course they don't.
Mhm.
That's a
you
huge
know.
liability. But somebody
So
has to do it,
Right.
And unfortunately, that state facility is set up for it. I mean, Carroll County has a what? 34 cell jail?
34
Now,
beds.
34 beds. Okay, so that's
Yeah, that ain't nothing.
that's 18 cells.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. But
Right. Well, and that's a valid point right there. You bring it. The other inmates are sharing the same size or a little smaller cell with, two people, and he's has that size cell all by himself. So yeah, a little bit better.
well, for a county that has such a big meth problem, you think they'd have a little larger capacity jail.
Yeah.
If that's like from what I understand, that's the meth capital of Indiana, Carroll
Mm.
County.
Well, I mean, Nick did bring up the fact is that you got to understand our county jail, we only deal with drug possessions and DUIs and little crimes like that and thefts and stuff like that. He said, our jail is not made for a double murderer.
Mm.
We don't
Mhm.
have the staff for that. We don't have his safety is a big concern when you got 34 or 36 inmates and you only got 5 guards.
Right,
And Nick was pushing that, you
right.
know. I
Well,
mean,
he's a pretrial detainee, and
yeah,
I'm all for that. Any one of us can be put in a situation where we get accused of something. So we deserve the best care possible until we're proven guilty by a jury of our peers. We have
right.
we have due process in this country. But that said, he's just not acting like a innocent person. Right from Jump Street, he should have said, "Listen, I don't give a damn how many 10,000s of pages of evidence you have. I want a speedy trial. You got 70 days from the time you book me in
Mm.
because I'm innocent." He's not doing that. He's postponing it. They're making legal moves. They know
Right.
he's guilty. He knows he's guilty. So they're just trying to put him in the best position possible. And I don't blame them. They're doing their
Yeah.
job.
I agree.
And I tell you what, the defense team, there was 7 of them there today.
Yeah, 7. And who's paying for that?
7.
Who's paying for that?
We are.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
Nick is over there doing it all on his own.
Right. But I'll tell you what, him putting the subpoenas in for CVS and for Westville and for all that, dude, he's smart. That was a great move. That's what got the defense all stirred up because he's trying to show he already knew he had these admittance of participation, and I guarantee you, he said some things that only someone who was involved would know. So they've got him there. So now they're
Mhm.
getting ahead of the game. He's being he's being proactive by saying, "Well, let's see if any of his CVS evaluations ever said anything about, hey, this guy's getting a little loopy. Maybe we need to not let him control the keys to the
Mm.
drug medicine." And his intake documentation from Westville, when they took him in, they did a full medical and psychological
Yep,
evaluation of him.
exactly.
And that's not including, I'm sure that afterwards that the state had a psychologist also do an evaluation. But his initial intake, they have to keep that on record. They can't wash that away. So all he
Mhm.
has to do is show that, look, CVS didn't say anything. This guy was a supervisor there 2 weeks before all this shit started. Lived a normal life, playing in his pool league, kicking the bobo, going on hiking trips with his wife. He was fine.
Yeah. Right.
And he was fine when he got to Westville. No problem
Mhm.
whatsoever. All of a sudden he gets legal representation. Waboom. Oh, we've got a mental issue. I mean, give me a break. But they're
Yeah.
doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
He's getting some good representation anyway.
I'm reading some of the chat here, and some of the people are kind of going back and forth on how long it takes to detox. I mean, it just depends on the person, I would think, on how
I
their
want.
body reacts.
Yeah.
Alcohol detox is worse than heroin detox. I'm here to tell you. It's horrible.
And then you got somebody saying depression can cause you to lose 45 pounds. stress that he's under right now can cause major weight loss.
Well, I need to
Major.
get under stress for something then, because I need to drop a little weight.
Well, once you go commit a double murder of two
No,
teenage
no. I'm not gonna.
that'll work for you.
I'm not saying. Listen, L.A. clips things. I got to watch what I say. L.A. come in here and clip all this stuff.
Did we lost Julie permanently?
Apparently,
What
I,
happened?
I don't know.
I thought maybe she went inside to get out of the wind.
Well, that
But
wind.
he
I was
deserves
getting
to
ready
have it.
Hold on. This is Julie.
This-
She sent me a message. Hold on.
This question has popped up twice, Frank.
Go ahead.
Did the prosecution bring up that there could be other actors again? Was that
No.
talked about today?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And
I don't think
that
they
told
needed
me-
to.
I mean, I'm starting to lean toward the lone wolf thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
That's
I-
definitely
I-
possible. That's why I was so hung up on that Muddy Bloody witness. If that's legit and somebody saw him on
I
300,
was told today that was all baloney.
okay. Because if that is
But who
legit,
told
then
you that?
Honestly,
Was that
we can't say it.
No, I'm saying was that talked about on the court, or that was just somebody sitting there that said that?
It was somebody that I talked to a lot. You
Okay.
know,
It wasn't
remember
me.
when we had to cut some of the video out from Keegan's hearing?
Yeah.
That person.
Okay.
Julie said she got cut off.
Yeah. Well, she said the wind was doing it, but we was talking outside about it today, and he said this person seems to think that the city just wants to get this case over with. They don't want to talk about it for some reason. There's something there that the community does not want to talk about. They just want to hang and fry this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can't do that. We have due process.
So,
But everything that he's doing right now and everything his attorneys are doing right now is textbook. I mean, I've seen it over and over and over again, and it's not going to work. That's the thing.
and
Even if
you
he's
did-
crazy now, he was not crazy then. That's when they need to prove is that he was insane then, so he didn't know what he was doing.
You had a good statement earlier. Why would they send an intern up there to talk to him? That don't make any sense.
And that happens a lot. I've seen that a lot, actually, Frank. But that tells you how big the case is to them. You know, our poor client. Oh, how many times have you seen him? Well, we send Snot Nose Max here. I mean, he's on summer break from his sophomore year in college, so
Yeah.
we sent him up there.
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot, but that just shows you how concerned they are. They're full of shit. They're doing what they're supposed to do, though. I would want that kind of representation. You know.
From the chat from Lockwood, they're wanting to know about RA's family and attendance. I know that his wife was there and mother.
Richard's
Is that
mother
right?
was there.
I mean,
Richard's
yeah,
mother
RA, Richard.
Yeah.
Right, Richard's
Yeah.
mother.
and his wife. They sat right in front of me, Julie and Merrill.
Was that it for his family?
Yep.
Okay.
That was it, because when you walk in the courtroom, to your left is the gallery. One section's here for the media, YouTubers, and the first row, the first three seats, is reserved for the defendant's family.
Okay.
And then on the other side, there's an aisle, and then you have in the whole complete other section that's just all victims' family.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, it was all podcasters, YouTubers, media, basically on one side, and the victims' families on the other.
Yeah.
But so we don't know if anybody else is involved or not yet.
No.
I mean that's still up in the air. So it was basically just, hey, we want better treatment for this guy. Look,
And
what
they're
you're
trying to
doing
get him
him.
moved. They're
Right.
trying to get him moved. And basically what it's boiling down to, getting around to a bond. Because Rosie brought that up during the hearing today about a bond. So I think he's pushing with all this to try to get a bond. And I mean, the judge has to see right through all that.
Mm-hmm.
She has to.
Right.
I mean,
And none of us have heard, and we probably never will, heard those recordings.
No.
Now, I've heard that It was Richard Allen just now. That's the first time I've heard that it was him talking to his wife. I heard he made these admissions to medical staff and to also
I didn't
psych
hear none
staff
of that.
at the
I didn't
jail.
hear none of
Okay.
that while we were there.
Say that
Okay.
again. Say that again.
I just
He
heard
was
for the first time today that the recordings that the prosecution has of him admitting participation in this
Mm-hmm.
is with his wife. That's what I just heard that for the first time when Julie said it. I've been hearing all day that he made those admissions to medical staff and to psych staff.
Yeah, what I saw in one of the articles by one of the news stations is that he made multiple confessions to multiple people, and his attorney actually acknowledged that he had done that.
Okay, so that's not just his wife then.
Right.
And his attorneys are not disputing any of that. So they either have vetted that information or they heard audio recordings or what have you.
Yeah.
They didn't dispute any of that. So that tells me that that exists.
well, Nick did make a statement that they haven't turned over all the discovery because they're still working on evidence
Mm-hmm.
of some sort.
Mm,
That's why all the discovery hasn't been turned over yet.
right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
like I said, Rosie, I mean, right toward the end, I thought he was going to go up there and jump in the damn judge's lap like a little baby. I swear to God, his little Italian butt, hair all slicked back with his Armani suit on and whatever he's wearing.
good
I
for
thought he
him
was
though.
gonna. I thought he was gonna jump right over that defense table and right up to the judge because there was like 3 or 4 sidebars today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then you got Nick McClellan with his Fonzarelli slick back hair.
Sure. Sure. Somebody's
You
got to
know,
jump the shark in that
but you
courtroom.
know, I was very impressed. I was very impressed with Nick McClellan today. Very impressed with him.
I'm
Sounds like
glad
he
to hear
has his
that.
shit together. I mean,
Yeah, it
this,
sounds like they are.
yeah, this
That's what it sounds
proactive
like.
move to get that information from CVS and from Westville.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
But
he got out in front of the defense on that one. You got to give him McClellan 1, defense 0 on that one.
and the judge did say the reason why she set out the trial date so far is because she knows there's going to be multiple motions filed.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So
And you
I
got to see
was,
it firsthand today, Frank. And you know, I try to explain to people that right now facts don't matter. It's all
Mm-hmm.
sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors, how well the
hmm
defense lays out the case, the prosecution lays out the case. And you got a little taste of it today, how they're going to act during the trial. So it should be
Mm-hmm.
pretty good.
I mean, it was blatantly obvious to me when they're pushing this mental issue on him that they're going to basically go for the insanity plea
Yeah,
or death.
watch how quick they get off that. Watch how quick they get off of that. You won't even hear about that in a month. That is so hard to prove, Frank. If they say that he's not competent for trial, um, that's huge. That's huge. Of course he's withdrawn. Of course he's
Mm-hmm.
detached. Just what he's going through. He had to go and face his wife today and his mother and
Yep.
have them see and hear all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The girls' families were there. This guy's got a huge weight on him, and he should, in my eyes. And I don't feel bad for him at all. I think that yellow jumpsuit looks fantastic on him, and the black box and all that. I wouldn't even put Kevlar on that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But
Well, if he is, declared incompetent to stand trial, then he'll go into therapy and they'll work with him until he is competent. At some point, he will stand trial.
hmm,
Yeah, they'll send him over to Logansport for that, more than
Yeah.
likely.
He won't just get off and not stand trial. They'll work with him through therapy.
well, this isn't a long process. I'm here to tell you. She set the. Now they can bump it out, bump it out, bump it
Yeah.
out. I mean, for years. But
Well, she
it,
also did say that it was her court calendar in Allen County. The binder was this thick, 60 murder cases she's looking at, but she said she's got an inside track to the highest judge in her district that will cover some of her cases so she can strictly work on the Delphi case.
yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
have to hand some off. They have to.
So
And it cracks me up that, and this is just kind of off subject for a second, but it just cracks me up the way that county works. They have a very small jail that's barely staffed. And you got to think they have 5 jailers. That's got to be staffed 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
and then
So,
one transporter. And
yeah.
see, Tony Liggett said that they admitted today that he had to go to Kentucky himself to pick up an inmate.
But yet, with all that, they're going through all this saying we don't have the money to transport this high risk inmate. And the biggest case in Indiana right now. But we're going to spend $30,000 to keep the 911 tapes on Flora sealed. How does that even make sense?
Oh, and that brings it up. Judge did say that she will be unsealing some documents starting next week.
Right.
Yeah, but it said that were filed, stuff that was filed, they're going to unseal. Now, I wonder if Kevin had anything to do with that, with
Yeah.
this motion that he
He
put in.
I
he,
believe
he
so.
did. He requested. I heard them talking about that. Not everything needed to be sealed, and not everything was under that blanket seal. So things, what was happening is somebody took it upon themselves to seal every single document that came in that was even remotely connected with that. And there was no reason for some of them to be sealed.
See, this
Yeah.
is the case of like in the prison, somebody decided to record him
Right.
during an attorney visit. Somebody decides, well, we'll just seal all these. You know what? It's almost 5 o'clock. I got an appointment, so let me just seal these and put them on file.
Oh, we didn't get out of the courtroom until 3 o'clock today, and they still had to do the ex parte.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to allow anybody in there anyways
Right.
for that.
Yeah.
So after that was over, I went downstairs where the elevator is because that's where they would have brought him down to take him out the side door.
Mhm.
I mean, every cop in the building was right there waiting, and I was like, "Man, I'm not going to sit here and wait because I'm not going to be able to get a picture of with all these cops around here."
Mm.
So I went and talked to Mike, Patty, and Becky and Kelsey for a few minutes, and that was about it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're doing okay?
Oh yeah. I mean, Becky. That's the first time I've actually seen her with a glow in nearly
Yeah.
almost 2 years.
I told
And
you
Mike was all cheery. I don't know if it's because of Kelsey being pregnant or they're getting ready to have their first grandbaby or their second grandbaby, whatever Tara has. How many kids she have?
Yeah.
So.
I told
And
you
Derek.
when I saw that picture, first thing I thought was Becky looked so healthy. She
Yep,
did.
she
She
did.
had a glow, and
She
Kelsey
did.
looked adorable. And
Yep.
I think Rekka said she looks ready to pop.
She does
Yeah.
look ready to pop. But as
Yeah.
far as his treatment and stuff like that, he's being treated fine. This is just him playing the game. I'm here to tell you. If they moved him, which I doubt they will, because that facility's set up to handle a situation like this. They just need to, whoever's making these decisions to like videotape attorney-client visits, that shit needs to be snuffed out. But
Nipped in the butt real quick.
yeah, but I don't care where he gets moved. My thing is, hey, whatever he wants, babe. You want to move him? Move him. He's going to another cell that's the same size as the one he's in now. He's going to get the same treatment. He's going to get finger food. He's going to be on watch. He's going to be videotaped. He's not going to have any liberties or anything like that. And too bad. They need to keep that man alive so they can try him. They can't allow him. Can you imagine if he kills himself? Good Lord. So
Yeah.
Steve says Alan seems to have aged 20 years and 6 months. So we supposed to believe the cops again?
Oh, Steve's anti-police. That's okay. I heard you built a nice deck, though, Steve.
Man, there's a lot of people in here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, like I said, I applaud Nick McClellan today. He came out guns a-blazing today. Completely different than when I went to the PCA hearing.
he'll have his down days, though. That'll happen. That'll
So
happen.
So did back to, was it Schroeder that said we don't want him, but we can handle him at Cass County?
it
Is
said
that what
they
he
can. He's basically saying we could take him, but we don't have the mental facility for him
Okay.
or doctors.
Yeah.
Because they just spent a bunch of money to upgrade the jail itself. They had, I believe, 220 beds, and now they went up 150 or something like that. They added an extra 150 beds. I don't know if they built a new section onto the jail or what they did, but so, and now they're working to do this mental thing is next, I guess. Facility.
Can we do a little promotion here
Yeah,
for a
go ahead.
second? All right. So I'm going to stand up. This is the Flora. Oh, I keep turning the wrong way. Flora Fire shirt. If you guys can see it, it has the girls' names in a circle, prayer, and wings on the back. You guys, these little girls do not have a gravestone, and I think that's really sad. And so the goal is 2,000. I found out today, and they're at about a little over 500. So if anyone would be interested in purchasing a t-shirt or sweatshirt, go to Meow Zedong's channel. She has the link posted there. You can click and you can donate, or you can purchase a shirt. And it's a really nice t-shirt. I really like it. And all of the profits from that go to help purchase gravestones for those little girls.
I saw Jinx had one on today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did the whole world. She told JLR to shut the fuck up.
Oh man, he come walking into the courtroom, bald head, looking like Ruckus here, but 200 pounds lighter, and it had a shirt that said "press" on the front of it. And I said, "Oh God, here we go."
I would have went there and wore one that said "pull" and walked behind him. He's press, I'm pull.
I couldn't believe it.
Why did Jinx yell that? I mean, say that to him.
You didn't see the video?
No, I haven't seen it.
She stayed.
Oh my
Her
God.
and the archive stayed out in the truck, playing around with the drone and stuff. So that's where all that happened.
She was filming on the side when they were taking him out of the van into the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
And JLR was standing right next to him. Well, like he always does, he screamed out. I think this time he just yelled, "Richard." But you hear him yell, "Richard." And then you hear this little Kentucky voice, "Shut the fuck up." And he looks down at her and starts giving her shit. You know, I can say what I want. It goes both ways. And
hey,
then he says, listen here, 4 angels or whatever. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't. She's going to climb right up you and put knots on your head.
Jinx, she's little, dude. She is little.
That was hilarious, man.
I don't even think she comes up to my armpits. That's how little she is.
Yeah. Oh, my God, dude. When I saw that, I was laughing my ass off. He didn't know what to do. I love Jinx.
Yeah, let me see if I can go find that link. And could any of the mods go find Meow's link and put it in the chat? If there are mods here, please. Miss Thang, can you do that?
That was so funny.
Not just find Meow's link, but if you can find the link to purchase the shirt. So, yeah.
Yeah, Jinxie texted that to me. He said, "Hey, I'm out here causing a ruckus." Oh, that was beautiful.
Oh, Lord.
Frank, when you see it, you're going to laugh your ass off, dude. It's beautiful.
She's a nutcase.
No, she just calls it like
cool.
it is.
She's cool, though. She is cool. As soon as her and in the archive pulled up, they saw me, Rick, and all of us standing up on the step, and I turned around, and she instantly said, "Fuck you, Frank." Right out the window.
Boy, this video's going red.
No, it ain't. I'll be all right. You know, I tried again today since they allegedly changed the qualifications to be monetized to 500 subs. I go into my YouTube studio, go to the earn button, push it, and it says then go to apply. I don't have an apply button.
Did you do it on your computer, on your laptop? Okay.
No, I did it right here on my desktop.
Oh, desktop. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a hoax or what that is.
Well, knowing YouTube, they probably, even though they decided to do it that way, they just don't have it quite together yet.
Miss Persevere just sent you that video in Discord, Frank.
Oh,
awesome. Lord.
If you want to hear the STFU.
Oh, Lord.
That was
I'm
beautiful.
sure Jinx is done passing around everywhere. She's good
I'll
at that.
have
Yeah,
to
she's.
go into
I
Discord.
did.
Is it in your Discord, Ruckus?
I don't know.
Yep, Jinx is in the chat,
Yeah,
or
I have
she
to
but
go in.
was.
Miss Persevere said just sent it to you on Discord, Frank. So it's either in Miss Persevere's or Frank's, I would imagine. That's beautiful, though.
Yeah, Jinx is in the chat. I didn't even get a shout out to nobody tonight. There's so many people in here.
Yeah.
But you know what? If
That
we're
thing's
gonna
going to
have,
go viral. That thing's going to go viral, and everybody's going to see that shirt she was wearing, her hoodie.
Oh, that'd
yeah.
be.
Well,
Oh,
she had a
awesome.
hat on. She had a skull cap on.
Yeah, but she had her hoodie pulled up over with her little
Man,
interaction
I couldn't.
interlude
But when
with
she got out
JLo.
of that truck and I looked at her, I said, "Man, you look like you're about 12 years old."
Yeah, you said
That's
that
how
to her
little.
face?
I said, "You are little."
Oh my goodness. No, I ain't talking to her like
Then
that.
she said, "I'm just a swinging," and I'm like, "Oh God." I said, "Oh God." But yeah, we expect to have a. I would imagine a hearing on the suppression here in the next few weeks. That's going to be next.
Mm.
It was a shock. We get in there, sit there, and then the judge sits in her seat, and all of a sudden, oh, we're going to reset the suppression hearing. I was like, are you kidding me? This is all we came here for. It was used to tell us that. And all of a sudden, they started laying out all about what's going on with Richard, the mistreatment allegedly he was getting, and all that stuff. And I said, we're going to go through this again.
Did you get Rescue All the Dogs Cash App today?
Oh, I want to thank everybody that donated today.
Right on.
Major donations today. And I also want again, while I got everybody on in the chat on live, I want to thank Deb and Ruckus for handling the live stream while I was in the courthouse today, guys.
No worries.
And I
Brother.
really appreciate you guys. Really
Yeah,
do.
we talked our heads off, didn't we, Ruckus?
We had a great time.
I mean, I wanted to stay on as long as I could out during the break, but I only knew we had an hour. The Pizza King wasn't open yet. The Chinese buffet wasn't even open yet.
Was
The only
Bill in
place-
his box behind Pizza King? Was he in his box back there?
Bill.
Yeah, Bill Clinton.
Oh, Rick. I don't know where he went. Nate. But then
Dude,
we ended up
he's
going over
spot
to
on
Office
with that
Cabin.
Bill Clinton stuff. That cracks me up.
Yeah.
But we went over to the office lounge, and Anna was sitting at the bar eating her BLTs. I think she was eating. So we sat at the table. So I went over there and sat down next to Anna. Was talking to her for a few minutes. She seems like she's starting to loosen up a little bit. She had a little bit of a glow to her today too. So, and I asked her if I could buy her lunch. She said, "No, you may not." And I said, "Okay."
Well, you know, this is absolutely stressful on everybody involved, but you can all point fingers at the one person that caused all this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
That's
And
exactly
like I
right.
said, I mean, he brought everything upon himself. And now the world's crashing down around on him, and now look at him.
Mm-hmm.
He's flipping out in his own brain, stressed out.
yeah, of course he is.
So,
Yeah.
Poor little
but
guy.
we're in
Poor
an
little
hour,
guy.
guys. We're in an hour, guys, and I've got to get some sleep, guys.
I can imagine you need some sleep. I know I'm tired.
Oh, man. But pay attention to the next time, guys. I'm sure something good's going to come out in the next couple of days. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure of it.
Absolutely.
But to the chat and everybody, Deb, Ruckus, thank you for coming out. Love everybody in here. Until next time, you know what time it is. Peace out.
Peace out.
One love, guys.
Right on, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Good night.
Good night.
Good one. 288 in the
We're
chat.
still live. We're still live.
Dude, that's a good one.